Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. This evening we have two exemplary guests with us. To my immediate left is Diane Battle Turner, and she's a radio host. She's a native of North Chicago, a mother of three daughters. Four daughters. And also to her left is Adrena Deanna Turner.
Yes.
Author, she's a radio host, a DJ, reviewer, inspirational speaker, dream visionary instructor, and a prophetess. Greetings, folks.
Hello.
Hello.
We're very happy that both of you are taking time for your busy schedule to be with us on Community Forum, because you are a family that Lake County should know. I mentioned Lake County, but this program airs in Kenosha on Time Warner TV, Channel 4, I believe it is up there. Then also airs in Chicago on CAN TV. So we get wide coverage. And we're going to, I guess, we can go online and people can see you all over the world.
Wonderful.
So thank you very much again. And I want to Diane, I want to start off with you. You're the matriarch of the family. And I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay, I knew Mr. Brooks back in the day when I lived in his place, apartment, for about a couple months, because I had relocated from another city and state. I think it was New York.
Okay.
And when I moved out here, I didn't want to stay with my parents. You know, that's how I was.
Okay.
Back then, I think I had 3 kids. I got 4 daughters now.
Okay.
But basically, after 2 months, I found me a house. You know, I lived in a nice apartment house.
Okay.
And I raised 4 daughters. I was married and divorced. And I continue being a mother of 4. And I'm so proud to say my oldest daughter is Adrena on my left, and she's got her master's and her bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And then my second daughter, she got married, and she tried to go to school, but it just wasn't for her. School is not for everybody. She said, I did try, Mother. And she finished high school, but she tried to go to college. And then my third daughter, she's got her associate's degree. She's got 2 kids. She's married and moved down south. And they got a beautiful home and beautiful cars, and they're living good.
Okay.
So, and she was just a baby when I lived in your apartments, you know, for a couple months. So they're doing, my baby girl right now, she's just at that age, she's just in her early 20s, still finding herself. But she should be a model, I told her that, and an actress. So it'll hit her one day. So basically, I'm grateful to Mr. Brooks to have me on his show, because I really love working with people, encouraging you, saying, well, jobs is hard to find. I had jobs. I used to work for the government, the federal government. I used to work by Mr. Brooks. I used to see him half of the time when I used to go to work, you know, at the United States Naval Base, and I worked for the Army Base, and I worked for the Fort Sheridan Army Base. And I also worked for the Veterans Hospital.
Oh.
They changed the name now. Of course, I went past there today. Captain
something.
Yes.
Healthcare Center.
But I worked at all 3 of those places, and I worked for the federal government at least 5 years consecutively. And the thing is that now I tell people, you can't get a job, but the Lord touched me. My daughter's been working with a radio show for 5 years total. She's had like 3 or 4 of them. I started off just as a little co-host, but basically I would start off as a wisdom talk first. And then Adrena liked me so well, I used to do a wisdom talk at the end of the show and just kind of break it down so people can feel and understand. She said, Mom, you do such a great job. I want you to be my co-host. I said, really? I said, okay, I would love to. So I started being a little co-host. I just start off listening, and then I end up working my way up to wisdom talk, co-host, and then after that, now the Lord touched me to start my own show January of 2013 this year. And it's been a year, December. My last show will be December the 28th. And I'm trying to think, if people still love me, you know, they've been supportive in Chicago, all over, listening to me. People still love me, I'll probably start next year. But right now, I did a whole year. The 28th of this month was my 7-11 in Heaven. That's the name of my show. And Adrena started off as Dream Your Reality Prophecy Show. And she has Midnight Hour show, and I have 7-11 in Heaven. So it's an extension of her show. So we work together, and I love it. And I tell people the jobs are hard to find, but I didn't give up. I'm doing this as volunteer from the bottom of my heart, and I love doing it. First I said, oh, wow, why did I do this? Well, God asked me to do it. And you know, it's a reason why. When you help people, it's helping yourself. I feel so an instant release. Sometimes I cry on my show. You know, so now I'm turning it over to Adrena Turner.
Well, first of all, I want to mention that you mentioned that you were native of, North Chicago.
Right, North Chicago.
You're from New York, you know.
And I lived in New York, but I'm from North Chicago.
But tell us about your, why you got interested in the federal government.
You know what? That was my dream. When I finished high school, I took the test, passed the test with flying colors.
Okay.
But I had got married right after high school and went to New York with my ex-husband. And when things didn't work with us, I came back to Illinois, where I started from. And that's when I worked for the government. I was in my early 20s then.
Okay.
And I always wanted to work for the federal government. I took that test right after high school.
Okay.
And they gave me a job as soon as I came out here right away. I worked 2 weeks as a nursing assistant. I saw I didn't really like that. And I told them, y'all can keep this. I don't even want the certificate. I'm going to be a federal government worker. And I did it for 3 years and a half consecutively. And I always went back. So I worked really about 5 years with the government. I love working for the federal government. I mean, the United States Naval Base I used to run into you a lot, Mr. Brooks. It was kind of funny. But I remember you, and then I got your apartment in a couple months, and I moved up to accountant technician. I rented one of your workers out there. He had to be one of my vendors to sign my contract. So I worked in accounting technician at the commissary and Fort Sheridan Army Base. So basically, I had to have one of your guys that worked for you sign my contracts, a vendor. He was a vendor.
Yeah, I was with the Public Works Center.
Okay.
Right next door, right next door to your building.
So I worked there, too, and then I worked at the VA Medical Center. But my favorite job was working at the commissary as accountant technician, and I love working for the United States Naval Base. I worked with the recruits, started off first. After recruits, after 8 months, I moved up to another grade because I did so well.
Okay.
Interviewing those recruits, taking fingerprints and doing everything. I loved it too. And I moved up real quick in the government. That's why I like the federal government, because they seem to appreciate me. And now it's so hard to get back into the federal government. If I could get back in the federal government, I would get back, because a lot of people say, why aren't you with the federal government? Well, it's hard to get back in. So I tell you, if you get in the federal government, don't quit your job. Take a leave of absence. Nobody told me this. My sister did it, but didn't tell me to do it. And take a leave of absence, because you can always go back to the job. And you know, it's hard. So.
Well, tell us now, you were established here in North Chicago, but how did you get to Milwaukee?
Well, I wanted to take a move. I said, it's time to make a break. I got to go somewhere different.
Okay.
I just want to check out. I was a little adventuresome out of the family. I just picked up and left one day, because when my federal job was my last day of working there, I moved right away to Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yes. I moved right away to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I worked there. I went out there and I worked at Curative Care Network for about 3 years. And I did work daycare jobs, but that just wasn't for me. But I like daycare, don't get me wrong. But I did like clerical jobs and stuff like that, part-time jobs here and there. So then me and my daughter started just thinking about, let's do this internet, you know, let's try something different.
Well, Adrena, I introduce you, and you have a world of experience here. and to share this with our audience, I know they're excited to hear about what you're doing. But first of all, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about your personal professional background.
My professional background, I do have a bachelor's degree in information technology, a master's degree in library science.
Okay.
And currently I am taking studies to get ready for the LSAT, which stands for Law School Admission Test. I'm planning on, hopefully, God willing, to go and pursue a law degree. As far as personal, I do a radio show. I've been doing it over 5 years. I started around September of 2008. And what excited me about starting a radio show, I was kind of surfing the internet, and I came across Blog Talk Radio. And I listened to a few of the programs, and it just sounded so great. Something excited me, especially after the presidential election. And while I was working on the campaign at the time, with that kind of excitement, I said, okay, it's time for me to venture out. and start a radio show just to talk about social community events, even things that's just going on around us. And then later brought entertainers, authors, and other kind of professional people to talk about what they do so that they can get the word out, because a lot of people don't know if you don't say anything.
Right.
So I started that, and it first started out as the Adrena Turner Show. After 4 years of doing that, I also started Dream for More Radio. And Dream for More was just an inspiration show, which I still do on Blog Talk radio program. And it's just anybody that's inspiring or encouraging others and talk about the great things that they do and how they can help back with the community. And then last but not least, what Lady Dee Dee was speaking about earlier, or Diane Battle Turner, is that we do Dream Your Reality Prophecies. And we just give the acronym DYRP. Mine's is Midnight Hour, comes on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time on the internet at TalkShoe.com, and our call ID is 91725. And then on Saturdays, once a month, the fourth Saturday, she usually comes on at 7 p.m. and does 7-Eleven in Heaven. Aside from that, I have ventured out and done a gamut of type of jobs, from a teacher, a paraprofessional, a youth development specialist. I've also worked in daycares as a caregiver in the past. I've also done an IT position. Now I look back, like she said, and I was a supervisor in training at University of Wisconsin, and I was a supervisor in the computer labs at that time, and I did that for a while as an intern. And then later I ventured out and did administrative assistant, and I've been trying to get a job in the legal assistant, you know, still working that administrative stuff, but kind of working in the field as far as the legal background. I've even tried law library. I've came downtown here, tried to find out more information, because my background is also as a librarian, and they told me, no, you know, it's one law person that works here. And, you know, I tried to venture out, check out some of the schools down here when I was out of work after getting my degrees, and I'm like, why am I jobless? You know, is it the economy? Everybody kept saying it's the economy, but I'm a go-getter. You know, I drove around from Illinois and Milwaukee and other surrounding cities just trying to find work and expand myself, because a lot of people don't know, but you have transferable skills. So if I'm not technically a librarian, I can still transfer those skills and hopefully do something else. So I've tried to venture out and try other things, and I think it was a little over 3 years ago, I tried Dream for More, and we called it Dream for More Firm, and that pretty much dealt with aspiring authors, literary professionals, and just getting book reviews out there, because again, if you don't have that word of mouth or that marketing or promotion in some kind of formal way, giving your opinion about a book, then nobody knows you. So those are some of the things that I had ventured out, aside from doing a little radio, a little TV, just to get the word out what's going on in the community.
Tell us about the importance of technology in this global society we live in, you know.
Oh, it's very important. You know, a lot of times we don't even look at social media, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I hear even authors today that are my age group arguing how they don't even want to get on the internet. They think that they can just do it, you know, at little book events and things of that nature. It is very, very important just to get your brand out there, to get your name out there, and as a professional, because I've even had callbacks from recruiters saying, are you on LinkedIn? So technology today, no matter what age you are, I even push my mother eventually to get on Facebook and some of these programs so that she can know about technology. So that's another thing as far as technology when it comes to the job market. You go to these job events, they're telling you the same thing at these career fairs. Here's my business card, get online and apply for this position. So therefore technology is very important today in many ways of even just looking for work. Just getting your name branded out there on the social media sites. Just learning it today in any kind of job, even for attorneys now. I've even heard some attorneys say that they had to learn how to use a laptop, how to use technology in general. And I'm looking at them like, okay, we got to get up to date. And now I've even visited law schools, and they have small laptops ready to go instead of writing on pad and paper today. Wow. So technology has changed a lot.
It's really changed.
So it's not like when we coming up, we fill out an application.
No more.
That don't happen.
I even noticed even in applying for grants and so forth, donations and contributions, they tell you to go online.
Yes,
online.
Everything.
Yes.
You can't even go. So it's not like, I'm concerned about our youth dropping out of school.
Ooh.
They just don't understand, because once they drop out, then, well, first of all, they're going to do the type of things that cause them to be incarcerated. And once they get a felony on their record, they can forget it. It's when they see this program, they find out how difficult it is with all the training that you may have. But if they have a felony, the only institution that they can look forward to is a penal institution.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? And that's an institution that's been privatized, and it's a growing. As a matter of fact, if I can diverse it a little bit, the establishment can determine by the third grade that your educational level at third grade how many prisons they can build in the future.
Oh, wow.
By the third grade, because what happened is
tell.
that, after the third grade, you're going to get progressively behind as you get in high school, and then you can't keep up. Once you get in high school, it's going to be so difficult, it causes you to drop out. They can't do the algebra and the geometry and all this type of thing, you know. Then when they drop out, then they're going to do the things that cause them to be incarcerated, you know.
Wow.
So actually, and I mentioned globally, I was calling one company, and the person answered the phone, and I asked them where you're located. It's in India.
Wow.
Now this is a local company, you know, but nationally they global. So it's a global society. So what can we tell our youth? It's not what it used to be.
Right.
It's not, because I'm saying I've been to college at College Lake County. I got certified with computer, finance and investment. And I started a business with my ex-fiance at one time. But when you had those papers, you could get over. And then I went a year and a half of college for management. I always wanted to be a manager of my own business. So I went a year and a half. I just got to go, another year to get my associate's degree. But basically, I got jobs with the government because of that. But now it's not like that anymore. You can have master's degrees. She's a good example. You can have bachelor's degrees. You can have associate's degrees. You can have all this good stuff. But if you don't go to the right place at the right time, you're without a job. Now, my daughter, she's sporty. She went, you got to go to the right place, right time. She went down south. Now, she's in Tennessee. She's getting jobs left and right out there. But she's into the field with justice. So she's dealing with the police, women, criminal justice with police job and all this stuff. And she keeps getting a job. She bought a home. So you got to go into certain fields, like Rena was just talking about earlier today, medical field. That's where it's at. Go into the medical field. Go into the justice, criminal justice. You can always get a job working with the lawyers or working with, you know, some kind of police department or whatever. Because the medical field, you get a job just like that. So that's what I might have to go back to school for that and get my retail management, but still go back and get into the, you know, medical field, because I did have medical jobs, but you got to have some kind of background now.
So it's not just being overly qualified. It's by going into the right field.
You got to go into the right field. That's where I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see that, because you can have a lot of background and still don't get blessed with a job.
Okay. Boy, it's really
it's scary.
I know my father and my stepfather too worked at the packing house. Well, you know, remember Armor Packing Company, Swift Packing Company, you know. But those type of jobs don't exist anymore. You know. But they spent 40 years on the job.
Wow.
Yes, that was good.
That's how people work back 30, 40 years of their life.
Right.
But now it's like, whoa.
Well, what I would add to the youth, I would challenge the youth. It's not worth dropping out, because high school diploma doesn't do anything. GED doesn't do anything, because in the past, like she said, you can get a GED or diploma. You can go where it said help wanted, walk inside, you know, fill out an application on paper and hand it in. Today, if you don't finish high school, imagine what your opportunities would be. It would definitely be limited. You're limiting yourself. I would advise you, while you're in high school, do internships, do volunteer at different community events, churches, get those skills. Do apprenticeships. Those are some things I look at. When I used to be an IT instructor at University of Wisconsin, we helped youth that were disadvantaged, that lived in low communities or impoverishment environments. But what it did was we taught them skills, how to use all Microsoft Suite Office, and we made sure they knew how to put their resume online because we knew everything was transitioning to technology. We showed them how to apply for jobs online. Most schools, and I'm not going to say all, but at least in Milwaukee area, they have different programs. I know some people are saying based on school budgets, it's getting weeded out. But there are a lot of opportunities if you check with your church, you check with community centers, and also check with your high schools, talk to your counselors. There are programs out there that really help students get the skills. What I've learned is just going to school, getting the degrees, they tell you have no experience. So yes, I may be overqualified education-wise, but then I'm underqualified because of the experience. So I really advise people, while you're living at home with mom or your guardian, take advantage of those volunteer opportunities and put that on your resumes. That is very beneficial for youth today. That's something I've learned over the years.
I did volunteer. I verify that. I did volunteer for 8 months working for the child support county. So, I mean, when I did that 8 months, Curative called me right away. They wanted me. They said I was their top #1. They had a lot of people. The ladies, they keep calling you every minute. They really want you. They're usually supposed to wait 2 weeks, check your reference out. They didn't even have time to check my reference out. They hired me on the spot, and I worked for 3 years for them. So that does work. I love working volunteer. In fact, I did more work than the people that was working there getting paid. But I loved it. They said, you look forward to come work. When I sprained my ankle, I still came to work. And I could have took off, but I said, no, I want to show that I work with the sprung ankle. I'm coming with the cane and the crutches, and I was still working. That showed I was dedicated, but it paid off in the end. I got me a real job, working 3 years for the, working at Curative Care Network. That's a rehabilitation center that helps people when they get crutches or they can't walk or they're handicapped or whatever. And I love that job, but I'm saying I had growing kids, so I had to let that job go because I had growing kids. That was the 2 youngest ones was kind of always getting in trouble. So I had to be a mother. It was hard being a mother and a father and trying to work. But I did it all. So a mother that does it all, don't give up. I'm not giving up. There's still room for me to get something. I have faith. When you have faith, keep your thumbs up, call on God. He gonna make a way. He'll make a breakthrough when I least expect it.
Well, just one other point before I go back to Trina. She mentioned about youth development, but what about parental guidance too?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a very good question, because I think what I'm seeing with when I used to work in the school systems is a lot of parents just take their kids to school and expect us to do all the work. Please, parents, take time to give your kids guidance, give them wise advice. Even when they get at an age where it feels like they're not listening, the Word of God tells us to train up a child the way it should go. So please start when they're young. What I've also learned as an educator, by the time your kid is 3 years old, you can pretty much determine where they're going. So whatever you see in your child, instill those things. Give them those opportunities. There are free community events that'll help instill that child, like if they're into acting, dance, talent shows, things of that nature. Watch them as they grow up. Those kids pretty much tell you what they're going to be, and then you're just that parent that really will encourage it with words, and then if you can, go out of your way and find opportunities for them to grow up and be the child that they're meant to be. Parental guidance, I would also be stern. I mean, of course, today we can't spank our kids, so I wouldn't advise that. But just be stern with your kids, very firm, and give them that encouraging word, because I think a lot of times parents are forcing and yelling at their children. Just be stern and firm with what you're saying as far as guidance is concerned. Anything you wanted to add?
Oh, parental guidance. I worked in a group home, for a few weeks. I really learned that you got to give those kids love. I gave those kids love. I treated them like they was my kid. It's so funny. One girl was in there and she said, "These kids gonna try to fight me, and I'm pregnant." I said, no, they're not going to fight you. You just got to be. She said, you're crying with me, Miss Turner. I said, yeah, I'm crying with you because I love you.
Okay.
I love you like my own child. And that made her feel love. When I cried with her and hugged her and said, I'm not going to let these kids hurt you, that made her feel a secure blanket. And I gave them that love like a mother's supposed to give them.
Okay.
So that's what you got to do. If you work at these group homes, you work at these child care, even if you're a secretary, get those kids love. That's all they want. When you give them that motherly love, that makes them think twice. She said, and I said, you can't be carrying weapons around, because if I was to help you carry the weapon, then if somebody hurt you, you're going to use it, and then I'll be blamed for it, and then you'll be in trouble going to jail, and I'm blamed for letting it slide. So give me your little weapon, okay? I know you want to be safe, but I'm not going to let nobody harm you. And I took that fear out of her. So if you give them that love and that security blanket, like a motherly, they'll come right. These kids need love. Sometimes their parents don't want them. So you got to give them, if you're going to work at these places, don't work just for the money. And they don't pay much money. I work because I want to help the kids. That's basically what I did. I didn't worry about the money.
Right.
So you work in these group homes, let them kids know you really care, you really actually love these children.
Adrienne, you mentioned, we talk about youth development, but what mentorship is very important.
Yeah, I agree. I did do Big Brothers Big Sisters for a number of years, but then my schedule got so hectic where they asked me to quit. But I think mentoring is very important because you take the child out of their environment or what they're familiar with, and you, again, instill certain things that they need to see. I would take them to movies, take them to theater. And what I've learned, even hearing from another girl that used to live in New York, and when someone took that time with them and mentored them, she still remembers the beautiful things that she learned from that by going to theater, seeing things happening outside of the ghetto or out of her urban neighborhoods. And that's typically what we do. I also sat down and tutored the kids, like if they had problems in math and science. With my IT background, I was very good in math and sciences. So, you know, when some of the kids struggled in some of their homework, since they didn't have their parents there, I was the one that would sit down and make sure they're bringing up the grades, that they're understanding the importance of school, understanding the importance of a career, and more importantly, understanding the importance of their dreams and goals, that you can pursue these things. Don't let things limit you just because you may be struggling in math. So mentorship is very important. It's kind of like you're that big sister or big brother to them. And as she stated, that motherly, nurturing kind of feeling that maybe sometimes they don't get at home. And it's amazing how years later, I was walking by the courthouse in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and one of the kids remembered me and was like, you helped me. I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you. So sometimes, even if we just have that hello and that warm smile is also important. But I would advise people, if you can find those children that you can mentor, I would give big ups for that as well, because it definitely changes their life and it pushes them to pursue what they were really called to do.
Diane, I was, we mentioned about being overly qualified, you know,
okay.
but I'm just, I'd like to review here for a second. Adrena, author, radio host, DJ, reviewer, inspirational speaker, and she definitely showed today that she's going to be an inspirational speaker. Dream visionary instructor and prophetess. We could go on. Let's take a dream visionary instructor. Let's tackle that one.
Wow, yeah. How that happened was a couple years ago, after I got the Dream for More. Basically, all that stands for is that you take one dream and you build on that dream. So, like for me, in order for me to be an attorney, I have to study for the LSAT. So I build on that by later, you know, putting in my application, getting the recommenders and things of that nature. But you start from where you feel comfortable going. If you go in any career, you have to research it, I would say. Maybe that's just me. But I researched the career and learn more about that. Then I build on it by possibly connecting myself with like-minded people to help me get where I need to venture. So all Dream for More is about is you take one dream and you continue to dream. You don't just stop there. And I think that's how a lot of people, when they're pursuing something, they don't look at failure as this is a letdown and I need to stop. They don't give up. They keep taking bit by bit and step by step and doing it that way. So as that came about, it was time to start making a manual called the Dream Experience series. So when you have a dream, most of us go through experiences or situations that show that this dream is coming to where it needs to be, or you're seeing it. Once you get those degrees and you walk across it, that stage, you're like, wow, all this schooling is now, here's the real deal. You know, I'm holding it, but you gotta start sometimes first thinking about it, dreaming about it, wanting, set goals, making a plan, but then later you go and do the work. After you do the work, then you can finally walk across the stage and say, here it is. So I'm one of those kind of people, and so I later came up with a manual, which is instructing others. We did teleclasses, which means telephone. We're doing telephone, and then you're having the classes by calling on the phone and also doing it on the internet. And then it encouraged those 3 of my students to really dream again, because most of them had given up. They felt they were too old, or I couldn't do this. And I'm not into can't and fail and give up.
Right.
So
No ifs,
I'm
ands,
about
and
dream
buts about it.
again. Let's do this. Let's push each other, encourage one another, and see where your skills are and work from there. And so that's how the dream instructor came from, because I taught a class for 15 weeks. And these people are now living out their dreams like her. She became a radio host right after that program.
Right after that program.
So, and they all got certified as well, you know.
And little Maxine Battle even took the class, and she's 83 then.
Right.
Yeah, she did a lot.
Well, I've reached my 80th birthday, and I'm still dreaming too.
There you go.
Good.
I haven't stopped learning yet.
Oh,
you know,
Mr. Brooks,
so it's very important.
Well, that's encouragement.
You know, evidently you had to have some mentors, and I think your mother probably the greatest mentor you've had. But mentors have to been leading and guiding you.
I would love one, actually. Me and my friend, while we're both trying to go on this law school journey together, we're at the starting point. We're trying to find mentors. So if there is a mentor that's an attorney already, been through the process, I'm open. But I wouldn't say I had a mentor except God. And of course, my parents encouraged me, pushed me, and my grandmothers, Maxine Battle, and my other grandma in New York, Sarah Cunningham. They encouraged me. They pushed me when I'm at my low. And so if you want to call them mentors, great, but they're great women of God that really keep me going, aside from my parents. But anything else, no. I mentor other people, or I help other people and encourage them, but so far I haven't had that same mentor in my life yet.
We have people in the audience wondering, where do you get all of your guests from, you know? But I think it was just God sent to have both of you here. There's no doubt about that.
It was God
Let's
sent.
talk about God a little bit. What inspired you to become a prophetess?
Wow.
that was a blessing.
You know, I think that's just a title. It's like, for many of us, you have certain gifts in you, spiritual gifts, and I've had them since I was a young girl. I usually can interpret dreams. God gives me dreams and visions, and for me, it's like premonition or deja vu. It's like I already saw this before. And then there's some people that I have witnessed to and told them what's about to happen. Like my sister, for example, when she was young, I said, I just keep seeing you have a baby girl. And then later, she found out she was pregnant a month or 2 later. Then after I got the dreams about it, and she said, well, I need to have a name. So I looked up some names, researched, because God put on my heart, look up some names. And then finally, I told my sister the name. And in Hebrew, Atira means prayer.
She's a prayer baby.
So that's how she is. And when she was born, nobody believed me she was carrying a girl. Everybody's like, yeah, right. When the baby was born, she had a girl, and she named her Atira. So that's just an example. So it's like certain callings and gifts that you already have in you. And then later, it took about 3 years back, I said, should I put the title so that people can identify you? Because even though when you have gifts, you know, some of us are ushers or evangelists or apostles and so forth. I finally was like, okay, I'm going to come out and just say I am a prophetess because of the gifts and the callings that I already have in me, and I do. So that's how it came about.
You know, I guess what inspired you to study genealogy? You got so many talents.
I'm like, wow, you brought that one out.
Yeah. She was.
Well, originally when I first signed up for the master's degree program, I signed up for a double major, which was history and library science.
Okay.
But after a semester, I was like, she knows me. Once I get in school, I'm ready to get out. So I got out in 2 years. Most people will take 3 years to complete a master's degree.
Okay.
But while I was taking a master's degree, something in me kept saying, I still love history. I still love learning about people. Yeah. So why not take genealogy? Genealogy just basically is finding out about generations before you in your family heritage or loom. So I had to do research to find certain records, and I was amazed how I actually found a slavery holding and information like that was scanned and put online, and how they did their census back then and things of that nature. So since I like history, I thought genealogy is the best because, of course, you know, nowadays when you talk to your family, like, do you know who or what is in our family? Everybody's looking clueless, like, no, we don't talk about stuff like that. So I'm one of those kind of people that like to research and like to know about our family history. So thanks for asking that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Did we ask you, how did you get to Milwaukee to leave in North Chicago? You just gave up on North Chicago?
I gave up completely, yeah. I just said, let me try something different. But I realized it's no better there than here. I realize it now. I admit that. But I did thinking I didn't want to go to Chicago because I did work out to Chicago for 6 months right after high school. I worked at the Sherman House Hotel, and I went into modeling. So I said, no, I don't want to live there because I felt nervous there all the time. I was watching my back. So I went to Milwaukee, and I kind of checked it out for about a year or so, visiting a friend. So I said, I think I'll move here. It's not too far from my mother, but it's not too close where they can just come knock at the door every day. Or my sisters. I want to kind of grow up and space away because it was 4 girls. We were super close, all of us, and I had to kind of break away from my family.
Your mother had 4 girls, and you had 4 girls.
I had 4 girls, and my older sister had 4 girls. So it's a family of girls. And my baby sister had twins, but the girl was first and the boy came second. So out of 10 grandkids, just 1 grandson, and it's funny. So basically I want to leave and just try something new. But I realize I'm still coming back out here visiting. Who knows, I might even work out here and stay in Milwaukee, but it's like the jobs markets is bad everywhere now. It's just not Milwaukee, it's not just here, it's Chicago, it's everywhere.
You know, I was wondering, we talked about high school dropouts, but what about math and science? It seemed like the math, the kids have a difficult time. Is the way it's taught?
Probably so, because I love math. That was my favorite subject.
That was my favorite.
I got all A's in math and accounting. I love those fields. I had good instructors back then, so Mr. Gilmore was a good teacher, and they had some good high school teachers when I was coming.
So I love the way it's taught.
It got to be how they teaching you, because I love math. I love it. And my grandkids talking about they love math. So it depends on your teacher. If you got a good math teacher, hey, I love math. That's my favorite subject.
That's a good point, because when I had to tutor some of the kids, they did blame the teacher.
They blamed the teacher.
But what I did was I would first ask them, how did your instructor show you this? Before I go in and show you a different way, because when I learned math, I learned different methods, and a lot of it was on my own. It wasn't from the teacher's way of teaching. It's the way I saw the problems. So before I would tutor a student, I would first try to understand how their teacher is explaining it or how they're teaching it. Once I get their way, then I would show them some of the tricks of the trade, short ways of learning this that would understand it. But at the same time, I try to show them how their instructor showed, because I'm quite sure at some cases, if they turn in the work, then they're going to say you cheated or you didn't do it right, because maybe my method is the short way. Like I said, it's the fast way I learned it to get the student to understand it. But then again, I would also go over their way of instructing so that there would be no discrepancy there, that they knew what they knew. But it could be the teaching. I've also advised people that are even homeschooled, they have different manuals and different books until you understand it to your best ability. But it saddens me when I go to McDonald's today and see a 16-year-old at the register and don't know how to count change. because they're relying on my calculator or my phone to figure it out, or just something to come up on the screen. But then when it's time to give you change, they don't know how to count it back. So now I have to check to make sure I have the right change. So it saddens me, but I think students need to take it and value it.
Yeah. Because when we had patience, we used to count our money backwards so we know we got our right change back. Yeah. Kids don't do that. They want to do calculator. Oh, calculator. Let's just do the quick number. Let's get the phone and do it. And I learned how to do the calculator and counting backwards. Yeah. And that's sad because if you don't, but see, I enjoy doing it. See, if you don't enjoy doing it, it's like a job. See, I enjoy doing it, so everybody don't like doing that.
That's true.
It's you have demonstrated that just you wouldn't be happy with just doing one job.
Oh, no.
It's a multitude of skills that you need, right, for jobs, right?
That's what kind of job I've always done. Did like multiple things.
Okay,
I can't do one thing all day. I have to do about 4 or 5 different jobs. That's all the jobs I had when I worked for the government. They start me on one thing. I'm end up doing taking pictures. They bounce me around everywhere. I loved it because I like learning new things, new techniques. Because then I'm valuable. I'm a valuable asset because I can do this, I can do that. I don't have to be limited to one area.
And this makes you more marketable too.
Yeah, very marketable. Yes.
When you do
I do a multitask. I like that. And Adrena took that from me. She's the same way.
I'm really bad.
I think she's a little worse because she can do about 5 or 6, 7 things at one time.
Well, we talked about skills. What about writing? I say you have writing as one of your skills too, right?
She writes
books.
I've
authored 10 books over the last 7 years. Yes.
Well, we're going to talk about marketing those books now. They've been marketed?
I've been kind of lacking. The last time I won an award, Female Author of the Year for The Day Begins with Christ in Chicago was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I guess, thank you for marketing. Yeah, I have 10 books out.
Wow.
When you go to our website, Dream for More is the number for dreamformore.org. I have all my books on sale for the holidays. So whether you want ebook, electronic book, or you want physical book, they're available. So all my books are on sale to the holidays.
And she got like poetry books. I mean, it's awesome. The poetry book is like raps, spiritual stuff. It's just a little everything, mysteries. I mean, she's got everything, a variety for all people's liking. And that's what I loved about her books. They're all different.
So if any employers listening, to take that choice, right?
Yeah.
Your choice, nonfiction, poetry, like she said, mystery. Currently I'm working on a acapullic thriller, and it's some people call it a Christian thriller. And it deals with things that are going on in the future, so it's a little futuristic. So if you want to put sci-fi on it, fine. But it's called Mr. March series. I'm still working on that, trying to find an agent and a publisher for that. So hopefully it'll be out in the near future.
Fantastic. Well, you're also involved in theater too, right? Tell us about your interest in theater.
I've always liked theater. When we lived out here, I went to North Chicago High School, and my freshman year, I signed up for drama. And I also took the class to learn more about acting and improvising. I loved it. I remember doing talent shows, and the thing that my mother probably remember and my grandmother Maxine is that I did Fame. We did Fame in 1990, so if you can find the old yearbooks at the Hawks, North Chicago Community High School, you will see me in there. I was one of the dancers, and I had some acting lines as well. So I used to dance too.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, and so it's funny, like after 1990, it took about 15 years later when I was in Milwaukee, I happened to be, I guess like she said, at the right place at the right time. I was actually at a Barnes & Noble's book showing. And I was trying to learn about this author that was in the community who was also a pastor. One of the guys was just amazed by me. I don't know why, in the whole audience. And he just started talking with me. So we started talking, and he found out that I used to do acting, and I was already an author. At that time, he was an aspiring author, so he asked me, you know, how do you get self-published? How do you do these things? Told him all that information. And then later he gave me a call, not even a year later, and said, I'm going to start a stage play called Are You Ready? and we sat down, met. I loved everything about it. I read his book at the time, and it was based on his book. And I was one of the actresses for nearly 2 years, and they still use my name in that play. And one of the characters' name is Drina, because my name is Drina for short.
Okay.
So, yes. And then some people, when I do go check it out, they still remember, you were the main actress. You need to be back in there. So I was one of the originals of that stage play, Are You Ready?
So I'm trying to see what were you contemporary my children. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1992.
Okay, okay. No, they were back in 77, 78,
okay.
you know.
Well, I met some of those same teachers in the church. Like she said, Mr. Gilmore, I had him, so.
Yeah. What about in that act, Kovacic, do you remember that name?
Yes, I do.
Was he there then?
If I'm not mistaken, that name sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
yes.
he still has parents there and grandparents, one in North Chicago, that will not leave.
Yes,
you know,
some people won't, right.
But he was very inspirational to a lot of people.
Yes.
One person I just mentioned another name, throw names out. Ford, Teresa Ford. That name sound familiar? But she probably way before too. Okay.
Okay, I don't know.
No. But she went ahead. She was in acting. She wanted speech and so forth.
Okay.
And she's an attorney now too. So
oh,
she
great.
that same thing and the goal that you have now. Is,
yes, I do.
So that's a realistic goal, and that's a
that's my next dream goal. Yes. Is to be an attorney. So,
in addition to all the things she's doing, and attorney,
amazing.
Are there grants and so forth available?
I'm looking for whatever. The only thing that they offer typically in law school is loans, but you can get scholarships, but depending on your LSAT score and your GPA. Those schools give you merit scholarships is what it's called. So I'm hoping for any of those. That's why I said I got to retake the LSAT to get a higher score to hopefully be qualified for those type of things. Otherwise, I'm living by faith. I said, God, if this is your provision for the vision, you'll provide. So I'm trusting Him for that.
Speaking about the faith that you live in, what about the importance of Bible study?
Oh.
You think this will benefit keep our youngsters out of the street and on a positive path?
Yes. Yes, I agree. I actually teach Bible study at Spirit Life Church. Maybe I'm putting a shameless plug in for them.
Okay.
At 9455 North 76th Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I do it at 9 a.m. on Sunday, so come on out. But other than that, yes, Bible study is just another way to teach you moral guidance, lessons. You get to also look at previous people that have went through their struggles and then how they proceeded in their lives and how they overcome. So that's why I think Bible study is very important when you learn about other characters and what they've been through and how miraculously they got out or how they were wealthy or how they succeeded regardless of their circumstances. So I agree. It teaches so much in Bible study. But I think the main thing, as Diane was saying, is love, morals, wisdom. And in some stories, it's very encouraging and inspiring because you can find yourself in those stories. So yes, I would definitely encourage that for the youth.
In addition to teaching Bible study, right along with that is speaking engagements. Do you have a lot of speaking engagements?
I haven't done any since last July. It was a Christian conference event in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wow. I enjoyed it though. It was one of my first at that particular event, and I got to teach a course for about an hour. And sometimes when you let the Holy Spirit take over, it don't go as planned. So what happened was we had lesser people as attendees, and as I was trying to set up, they didn't have the presentation board that I'm looking for because I had PowerPoint. If some of you know what PowerPoint is, it's for presentations. They didn't have any setup technology-wise, so I was like, okay, this is going to look awkward teaching from my laptop and without the equipment. So what happened was I told everyone to encircle around me, and it was more of a intimate session on teaching on the Dream for More experience. So that's pretty much what I taught, is to get people dreaming again and believing in their dreams, setting goals, making a plan, and making it plain. So those are some of the things I taught, but it became more intimate instead of them out there and I'm standing here. So yeah, I love doing speaking engagements.
This is, you know, another important aspect of that is interviewing techniques too. How important are interviewing techniques?
Very important. I would say for me, I typically, like if I'm going to interview an author, I need more than just sometimes your bio or your media kit. I want to read your material that we're endorsing or promoting. So therefore, I do a lot of research to try to find out any background information about who you're interviewing. Then you kind of tailor some questions around what you know or what you've learned about them based on your own research. And then sometimes I even ask or encourage people to send questions that you're familiar and comfortable with. And to ask those questions because they already pretty much know the answers. So some people, when it comes to interviewing, you know, you have to have a calm, relaxed spirit. So if you have your own questions and you know how you're going to address them to the particular audience you're trying to target, then I'll ask those questions as well. And it's just very important to have eye contact, to feel calm in a situation and be able to address those issues that you're really trying to get the audience to learn more about.
I'll say this, Diane, you can reflect back now that you're very proud of your daughters. We speak about 4 daughters. We're very proud of them.
I'm thankful. I thank God, you know.
They're proud of you because you have raised them, and you're proud of them too.
I'm thankful. I thank God, you know, for walking me through, because I don't know what I'd have done without him. That's why I always keep God in my equation every day. I don't care if my times is hard, and I just say, I'm not giving up. No, I'm not giving up. I just go off on myself. And I get up and I say, Lord, just guide me today. Give me the wisdom. Give me the knowledge. My mother always used to teach us that, but it's in my heart because without God, I don't know how I would have raised 4 kids by myself. Married and divorced. It's stuck on the poor lady. So I just thank God. And now Daddy's coming through. Now they're grown. But I said, I'm glad I've done my part. So now I'm washing my hands and I'm just enjoying how they come up in the world.
So Daddy realized
he's realized
the mistake he's made.
Let me do some stuff for these kids. He's sending stuff through the mail every other week. I said, what about me? If it wasn't for me, them kids wouldn't be here. And I make a joke of it. I said, I'm glad. When he do for them, that's doing for me. That's how I just made a joke of, but that's doing for me. But
that's right.
But he's coming along now because he's realized these kids are really.
Is he locally or what he's going?
Oh, he lives in California.
Oh, okay. Yes. But he's still.
Yeah, he keeps in contact with the kids and all. Yeah.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
It is.
It hit him because he realized they turned out to be some good girls. All these years that I scuffled to do what I did, and he just so amazed at how
so you want to walk back in their life.
He want to walk back in their life like nothing happened, and he's trying to do his part. So I thank God on that. See, it hit his spirit. I got to be a real man and step up to the plate, and I'd rather him step up to the plate than never. Now or never.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it might be late. It might be late or never, but I'd rather be too late than not at all.
That's
so true. That means a lot to me. Yes.
I had a mother that passed away at 90 years old, and she stuck with me for all this time.
Oh,
you know, she passed away at 2005, I think it was. You know.
That's when my dad left.
2005. And every time I got an award or something,
she was there for you.
Right there.
Oh, Mr. Brooks.
She's on dialysis the last 8 years, but
she loved her baby.
Mother, you know, motherly love. And Daddy, he walked out at. When I was 2 years old, he left the household, you know.
Yeah, so Mama was Daddy, and so you know that's like.
And I still
that means a lot.
The kids love them. Every time we visit back to East St. Louis, they take them. We always go by.
Oh, okay.
They both remarried, you know, and this type of thing. But that motherly love, you just can't get away from.
You can't get away from that, can you? Right. That's beautiful.
Well, we know what's in the future for Diane, but I mean, Adrena.
Right. Yeah.
But what about Diane?
You know what? Something's going to work for me. I have a feeling.
You got your faith in God.
I got my faith in God.
Forth.
I want to be a comedian because I like to make people laugh. I tried the Tyler Perry show, you know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's creamy vanilla Badia, and I just like to make people laugh and forget about all their hurt and pains in life. That's in my blood. I got that from my father, Clem. You know, Clem Battle was a comedian.
Yes,
he was a natural born comedian, so I like to make people laugh. So I was doing this, reaching out, touching souls. I'm ready to reach out and make people laugh now. I really am. I'm ready to another.
Well, we can say that yesterday is history.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tomorrow is a mystery.
Yeah.
Today is the present,
Uh-huh.
and that's what we call it a gift.
Yes,
a
gift.
Right.
Amen.
So all that yesterday is gone, and you still great and inspirational.
Yeah, and I still have a lot of hope, and I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I have that faith.
You keep your faith in God.
Yes, I do.
But actually, you're doing radio host now. But is there any other thing that you really like to press on?
I'm ready. I'm ready to really honestly go back to school. That's
Okay.
what's touching me right now, to get that management. And then after I finish my management, because I went a year and a half, I probably had to go like 6 months to a year and get my management piece of paper. And then I just probably want to just one day when Drina gets her own company, I have faith in her. I just work for my daughter, because then she knows she can trust me. She know I'm not going to do her wrong.
Oh,
I'm accounting to the penny. I'm gonna make sure you didn't overlook a couple things here that that nobody else is gonna do that. They see you overlook something, they'll just take advantage of it. But she don't have to worry about me. So that'll be my gift to work for her, and I'll be happy to do that because keep it in the family, keep it in the blood.
Tell us about Tina. Now, what relationship was that? Was that a
Tina
niece?
She's my niece.
A niece, okay.
That's my oldest sister's daughter. She was the first child of the family, of the grandkids.
Okay.
She's the first, and then Drina's the second of the grandkids. So Tina was supposed to come here, and Tina's basically, she was one of the little kids I took to Daisy's daycare. Oh. And I used to pick her up and bring her back, sometime when Donna couldn't do it. I'd do it for her because I think I kept Tina for a whole week. So that time I just kind of took her back and forth to the daycare when Donna needed me. So Tina was in your daycare.
So Daisy's Tots and Towels is not new. It's not new with you, right?
It's not new. I've heard of them, because my little niece Tina used to go there. Now she's grown and she's a teacher now.
She's a teacher, okay.
She's a school teacher.
In North Chicago District?
North Chicago
187,
District.
huh?
Yeah. She's a teacher.
Right where she started from.
Yeah, and that's somewhere she came from.
This is
she
fantastic.
left and came back here because she lived in California for a while, and then she left and came back here, and now she's working school system here. So, and that's something goes around, comes around.
Well, as I said at the top of the program, the battles are people that Lake County should know.
Right.
Because you have you have God on your side.
Yes, we
and,
do.
And with God, nothing is impossible, right?
Nothing. The possible, honey, impossible can be possible. God breaks through walls for us.
And both of you doing what you love to do. Are you doing the radio and radio talk show? You haven't gotten TV yet, though.
No.
The radio talk show.
The closest we get to TV is on Spreecast.com on DYRP.
So how can people contact you if they want to contact you?
You're welcome to go to dream4more.org. Again, dream4more.org.
You can get in contact with either one of us through that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Drina, Diane Turner. I mentioned before, and I have to mention again, author, radio host, DJ, reviewer, inspirational speaker, as you can find out tonight, dream visionary instructor and prophetess. Amen. And we have a great person that she admires, the Diane Battle Turner, her mother of four daughters, also a radio host.
Amen.
We hope that you've enjoyed this evening, and we want to thank you for listening and viewing another forum on Community Forum. My name is Dr. Wandell Brooks Sr., your host.
Thank you.
Thank you.